Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to start off my speech with a brief clip. Why I wanted to show you this clip was for two reasons. First reason I wanted to show you this clip was I wanted to show the magnitude of collegiate sports in the United States of America for the people that don't really watch college sports. That is the National BCS Championship game. Now I would like to give you some numbers about this game. 94,000 people attended this game. Over 28 million people watched this game. And the average ticket price of this game was about $3,500. So let me give you the craziest stat about this game. You know how much the employees got paid? Zero. So today, after doing some research, I would like to talk to you about why college athletes should get paid. Because after doing some research, like I said earlier, I've come to a conclusion that college athletes are merely employees of their institutions and they should be paid and they should not be treated as students that don't get proper benefits. So let's see why college athletes should be paid. So the first point I would like to make about why college athletes should be paid is it's about value in life. Everything's about value. Value is something that is subjective to you. For example, you can give a homeless guy a plasma TV that's worth $1,000, but it's worth nothing to him because he does not have a house to put in a TV, right? So it's all about value. It's worth $1,000 to me because I can go take that TV to my house, put it on my screen and watch something. So a lot of people say that college athletes should not be paid because they get free tuition and they get free room and board and they get free education. So my point to that is, how does a college athlete value education? Yeah, you're giving them an education that's worth $50,000, but according to their value, it might not be $50,000. It might be $1 because a college athlete that's really a good athlete really wants to be a professional athlete, right? That's their main goal. That's their main objective. So what they really want to do is try to drive value, and people try to put value as an objective thing. It's $50,000, so they're getting paid $50,000. No. These athletes could be paid a lot more money. Why? Because these athletes generate billions of dollars for their schools. Billions, when I speak. And they get paid nothing, no cut of it. They get $50,000 in scholarships and a couple of meal plans a day. Let's move on. Second thing I would like to talk about is why I think a college athlete is an employee. As you see on this slide, it says, according to the National Labor Relations Board, there's about 4 things that a person must do in order for them to be considered an employee. The first one is they're under contract of hire, second, perform services, third, subject to employer's control, and 4, in return for payment. Pretty common sense, right? Now let me tell you what these college athletes do. The letter of intent and scholarship offer is employment of contract, the hours of practice, and the play that generates millions of dollars of revenue for the school that employer benefits is the revenue they produce. The coach's rules are the control, and the scholarship itself is the pay. So when we say we're not going to pay college athletes, it's merely absurd because we're already paying college athletes. What I'm saying is we're not paying them enough. We're not giving them justification. We're not giving them the right value for the hard work they have put in their whole life to do this job. You're telling me someone who is so talented, extremely talented, is going to do something 30, 40 hours a day, and then you're going to tell them all you're going to get is free education. Why did I go to school? Because I saw value in my accounting degree. These college athletes see value in the future in their sports, not the future in their degrees. A stat that was done by Mark Edelman on the ESPN analyst, he reported that a typical D1 college football player devotes about 43.3 hours a week playing college football or practicing, which is about 3.5 hours more than what a regular employee works for in the United States of America. So you're telling me that NCAA is going to rule these students, quote unquote, as students rather than employers, so they don't have to pay them benefits? It's merely absurd to me if you really think that. And another thing I want to tell you why they're employees is because they're under the control of their colleges. If you're a student, you are allowed to go to every class you want. You don't have to miss any classes. Half of these college players, basketball players in March Madness, usually have to miss half their spring semesters and half their classes and courses, which kind of tells you that they're not really here for school. So earlier you were telling me they got education and tuition in return for their services, but now you're telling me we're going to take those benefits away from them, make them work even harder so they can produce even more money that can go to the coaches, right? So that's why I also think college athletes should be paid. My second point, like I just made, is I think they're employees of the college institutions, and I think that they bring in millions and millions of dollars. And I think it's only morally right that we give them their cut of the share because they work so hard for it. You know? Last time I checked, we were living in America, not in a communist country. The last thing I would like to bring up is, I would like to bring up some of the revenue numbers for the schools, for NCAA, just in general. I would like to talk about some of the revenue numbers that would also compel you to believe why we should pay these athletes. It's not that they're bringing in $10 a ticket. Why do we not pay high school athletes? Because it costs more money to hold the game than the game produces the revenue. If you know what I mean. It's like the total revenue from the game is less than the amount of money that took to set up the game. So it doesn't make sense to pay a high school athlete because we're not making any money. So this is the conferences. Colleges, I'm just going to break it down for colleges, actually broken down into different conferences. Different conferences there are some strong conferences, weaker conferences. NCAA regulates that. They're the authority that watches over all heads of all these conferences. So these are the average revenues for some of the conferences. And if you look closely, ACC actually produced $72 million in average revenue last year, and Big Ten produced $95 million. And as you can see, all these numbers are stupendous amount of average revenues. And the lowest revenues are it's not even that low. It's about $48 million. It's $9 million in Sun Belt, which is the worst division you could play in college football. And what I would like to also note is $146 million is what Wisconsin made last year, and their players made $0. Another thing I would like to do this is, the last figure I showed you actually was the athletic revenue, the revenue the colleges made just from their ticketing sales. Now what I'm showing you is what the NCAA makes. The NCAA is the body that rules and governs all of the athletics in the United States of America as it pertains to their collegiate careers. So this is a chart that shows you the NCAA annual television revenue. NCAA just actually signed a deal, I believe it was about 2 months ago. They signed an $18 billion deal with CBS to show the bowl games and everything, which equates to about $892 million a year. Their revenue is $890 million a year, which further gets broken down and gets sent to these conferences. So all this money is going to these conferences, all this ticketing sales, all this championship stuff is going to these conferences, and you're telling me we don't have enough money to pay these college athletes. Another crazy statistic I would like to show you is more revenue numbers, as I titled it, is March Madness is the biggest college basketball tournament, if you're aware. If you're not, you should really watch it. It's very exciting. The NCAA March Madness made $1.1 billion in advertising. That tops the NFL, NBA, baseball, and the NHL. I just want you to think for a second. NBA, NFL players make millions of dollars. I'm not telling you to give these kids millions of dollars. I'm telling you to give these kids a little cut so they can live more comfortably while going to college. I'm not telling you let's not send them to college, let's send them out straight to the league. No, I'm telling you let's give them a chance to live their life better because they work so hard and they're so talented and values everything in the world. And if these companies, this NCAA, this tax-free organization is making so much money off of it, why can't they do the morally right thing and give these students some money so that they can spend it on everything else?